Well, good morning. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome back to Mac on the Move. Of course, I'm Mac, where we stay sharp, keep moving, and remember, movement keeps us young. So that's some of the things that we got going. Today we're going to talk about the Save America Act, Lisa Murkowski, our government, various things. The Save America Act, how it's important to me as an American citizen, how it's important to people in Alaska, because people think that because we're up in Alaska that we're really not part of the United States. I beg to differ. Um, Here we go. Here we have elections every 2 years, every 4 years. You know, so you know, we have our main election that where we're electing a president, which there's various things about our voting system which I disagree with. One of those things being ranked choice voting, where you rank between 1 and 4 of who you want as president if your actual person doesn't get it.
Everyone has heard of ranked choice voting, but not everybody understands exactly how that works. Let me explain to you how it works in the state of Alaska. They have a nonpartisan primary in which they choose the top 4 candidates. Those candidates then move on to the general election. In the general election, they have ranked choice voting. What does that mean? That means when you vote, you don't just vote for one candidate. You vote for a list of your favorites. If after the first ballot, anybody is over 50%, that's it. Election over, they won. However, if they aren't, then they take the lowest vote getter, remove them from the list, and take all of their second place votes and give them to the other candidates. If that moves anybody over 50%, then that's it. It's over. If that doesn't work, they keep going until eventually they get over 50%. Now, a lot of people, like Elon Musk, don't like this because we end up with an unpopular senator like Lisa Murkowski, who is literally the queen rhino of the Senate. Right now, she's got a 33% approval rating in the state of Alaska, maybe because she stands against everything Trump wants. So Elon Musk has put $1.5 million into backing ballot measure 2, which would eliminate ranked choice voting in the state of Alaska. I hope they get rid of it because any system that gives us Lisa Murkowski, I want to get rid of, okay? Because she's horrible. She's not even popular in her own state, and yet she keeps winning because of this ranked choice voting system. Folks, let us know what you think. If you think we need to get rid of ranked choice voting in Alaska. Thanks for listening.
New way to cheat the system in my eyes, but so we have elections during that time frame. During the time frame, we're thinking that we're electing people to represent us, but once they get in office and stuff, Congress actually works for themselves, and they forget that they work for us. So, Save America Act, which is important on everything that we do, and it is basically 80-20 in the eyes of the beholder, and to really stand it out and everything. I'll show you once we're going to go over what the Save America Act is, and then from there we'll take and show you how many people actually want this for America. And I believe that you'll be surprised. Maybe you won't be surprised, but so let's go ahead and get into this. First thing is that we're going to have what I call Save America Act, the purpose. Requires documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. it to register for federal elections. It also establishes national photo ID requirement for voting in person and absentee. The problem that they have with, some of our congressmen and especially all the Democrats, the problem that they have is they don't want to establish a national photo ID requirement. They don't want it. Our founding fathers said that, the states are supposed to be in control of their elections. Well, I'm not saying go against the states, but what I am saying is that the states need to back up your federal government, because your state's government was also elected. And so far, what I've seen and everything for the last 10 years has been nothing but divisiveness between both parties, between Democrats and between the Republicans. And of course, the independents are in there as well. But, that's what I see. And one side's fighting against the other. And I know people don't agree with me. People don't like this president. But, this right here to me is not a far stretch, because this puts in protection of everybody's required to show ID. So if you agree, you agree. If you agree with me and you disagree with me, please put a comment. Please comment down below. I'll get to every comment that I can, but I want to, continue on and everything, because I don't see why this would be a problem. And to go along with that and everything, the second portion of the Save America Act is voter registration changes. Why? Why is this a problem? So I'll hold it up here and everything, but to let you know, voter registration changes. States must verify citizenship before approving federal voter registration. Acceptable proof includes, and you're going to be surprised by this, and maybe you won't, U.S. passport, birth certificate, certificate of naturalization, citizenship, consular report of birth abroad, real ID showing citizenship, military or tribal ID indicating citizenship. States must provide an alternative verification process for applicants lacking state standard documents. Provisional ballots allowed until citizenship is concerned. Yeah, I know, one ones up here and everything was real ID showing citizenship, and how, they say that real ID is not proof of citizenship, which I have a hard time with, because with the real ID, you have to show your birth certificate, or show your passport, or show your, and show your social security card. Ain't that exactly what the Save America Act is supposed to be for? Now, granted, they want to come up with a separate voter ID, but for the time being, until, in my eyes, until things get implemented, I believe getting a real ID and showing that you have a real ID would be sufficient for the time being, until they come out, get all this passed and everything. I know there's Arizona is one of the strictest states there is for voter ID and proof of citizenship. And then my state of Alaska, is actually the second one that's stricter, just as strict. And our senator doesn't have a problem with voter ID, but she has a problem with it being implemented, and how it's going to be implemented, and the cost to the state and everything else. So, if you have any ideas or any suggestions, put it down in the comments, and we'll continue on. This next one is going to require voter requirements. I don't know, hopefully you guys can see this and everything. Actually, the next one is actually, wait a minute. Voting requirements. So, photo ID required for all federal elections. Absentee voters must include a copy of photo ID. When requesting the ballot, when returning the ballot, they provide the ID. Voter roll maintenance. States must regularly, you know, regularly. And I'm sorry, I don't have any teeth, so if you have a hard time understanding me, I apologize, but I'm in the process of getting a whole new mouth. So, but voter roll maintenance. States must regularly verify voter rolls using the DHS Save database. And this is one of the things that they don't really want either, but to me, it's a no-brainer. Why would you not want this? States must notify flagged voters and request proof of citizenship. Yes, absolutely. States must remove non-citizens from voter rolls. Ding, ding, ding. If you remove non-citizens, what's that do? And this here ties into with really Stephen Miller pushing for the census in 2030 to not include illegal immigrants, people who don't belong here, people who have overstayed their visits, people who are not naturalized. We don't have a problem with people coming in here and gaining naturalization and assimilating and everything. What we have a problem with, and you can pay attention and look for yourself, look on your own, and this information is all out there. And most of this, just about all this stuff, I've actually verified and everything. So I feel good that I'm passing along good information. And this is the thing, I'm trying to fill in a void, because to me, the void is I just want to have a conversation with the people, with the American citizen, with the American people and everything, and let them know what's going on and why they see what they see. But this right now, there's several states out there that haven't fulfilled it, But let's go on. Let's move further. So if you have any comments or questions or anything you want to, please put it in the comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. The next one is going to be talking about enforcement. Criminal penalties for officials who register voters without proper citizenship documentation. Creates a private right of action, allowing individuals to sue for violations. Context. Amends the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. Would impose uniform federal standards across all states. Supporters cite election security. Critics cite potential barriers for certain voters, which is where our senator comes in with it's going to disenfranchise the people in rural communities. Granted, Alaska is a very, very large state and probably less people than some of our states right now. But, there are ways to get to the rural communities and show support. And that's all we have to do. And the other thing, this is always confirmed details with official legislative sources. So again, check into everything, and there are several things. Each state has its own brochure for elections and everything. So this is where we talk about confirming official details with legislative sources. I got this one in the mail probably 2 weeks ago. There's a lot going on. Our primary election is August 18th. So if you don't know, it's Tuesday, August 18th. Make sure that people up here in Alaska and everything know where to go. If you don't, look it up right there. You can go to, there's actual websites that you can go to and everything. Let's look here. So I'll look that up and I'll put it in the description and everything. But you can you can actually go to https myvoterportal.alaska.gov. That's it. My voter portal, myvoterportal.alaska.gov. That's the website to find out where you need to go and vote. So there are several things that goes on and everything, and people, don't understand it. But one of the things that I see, and give me a second. You can see this one. It says, should people who are citizens of the United States be allowed to vote in U.S. elections? 13% of Republicans say yes. 17% of independents say yes. 18% of Democrats say yes. Overall, 15% of the American people and say yes, that non-citizens can vote in our elections. I disagree with that. The people who oppose that and everything is 83% Republicans, 73 for independents, 74 for Democrats, giving us an average of 77% of the people that are against wanting people to vote in our elections. So the next one that we're going to go over is, would you support or oppose requiring proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections? 89% of the Republicans support it, 61 in independents, 48 Democrats, with overall 69% of the people support the U.S. citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. So the next one that we'll go over is, would you support or oppose requiring states to remove non-citizens from voter registration? I'm not going to go over all the numbers and everything, but overall, 75% of the American people said yes, they're in support of it. So the numbers here and everything is basically what we want to, go over. Another thing that we want to, probably go over is this one right here, where it talks about well, hopefully you can see that one is clear enough and everything. But do you support or oppose the proposed Save America Act that would A, require proof of citizenship to register to vote, require voter ID, require states to remove non-citizens from their voting rolls, require states to share unredacted voting rolls with the Department of Homeland Security? These are all common sense issues and everything. And as you can see, blue means that people are in support of it, and red is people that are against it. Overall, the 71% of the American people want this. Okay, and looking at the GOP, 91% of the GOP, which, if you don't know what the GOP is, that's the Republicans. 91% of the people are for this. So let me make adjustments and everything, and I'll be right back. A couple of the other slides and everything I want to show you and whatnot. This one right here, which shows Senator Murkowski's voting record and everything, where it shows that, probably 90% of the voting record, she's voting with the, 82% of the Republican Party, 14% Democrats, 3% of, people who don't vote. So over her 24 years, she's in the 92nd percentile. The average Senate Republican votes 95.6. Republican is not voting is 2.9%, 2.9% of the time. But in the last 10 years and everything, you can look it up and all, but there's several times where, the senator doesn't vote with the Republican Party. And mainly, to be truthful with everything, this is overall TDS. She does not like Donald Trump. He fights her all the way. she fights him all the way. So it's a love-hate relationship if you want to look at it that. But again, with the numbers and everything, she is one of the roadblocks, or in what most people say and everything, she's rhino, and it's not RHINO, it's RINO, Republican in name only. So that's that aspect and everything. So overall, in my eyes and everything, a lot of people have said Murkowski's failed, and given her the grade of F. I'll agree with that because she's, in my eyes, she's not standing up for the American people, the people who voted her in office. She standing up for other things, and people don't realize, these people have donors and everything. And I just found out yesterday that the main donor she has is is Melinda Gates, but she is also pretty much in line with you know fighting against Russia and China, so she says. But I mean, if you dig deep and everything, you find out where it is, where the money is, and everything. So part of the thing that we want to do and everything is right here and stuff, going with what the voters say, and her excuse is, I support voter ID and believe that only U.S. citizens should vote in our elections. But the Save America Act goes beyond that and provides no time for proper implementation. It would ultimately disenfranchise some Americans in rural communities, so I oppose it. Reality is, election security and voter access can both be protected. Implementation timelines can be adjusted without killing the bill. Rural voters need solutions, not excuses against citizenship verification. So, also want to show this right here. Give me a second. So in this clip here and stuff, we have a reporter getting ready to chase down Lisa Murkowski, and actually, she's just got questions trying to get answers for the Save America Act. So hopefully you can see that. Let me adjust a little bit and see for yourself.
Where do you stand on the Save America Act? Do you, support getting this legislation passed to protect elections?
I'm not as instructed. No.
Why not?
The implementation in a rural state like Alaska is going to disenfranchise an extraordinary majority. And while I support citizenship voting and voting ID, I want to make sure that it's implemented.
So these are just some of the things and everything, and within the presentation and all there, I'm going to be adding some other clips and stuff to share with you. So to kind of summarize everything up and what I'm talking about and everything, Saving America is top priority, and if you live in America and you love this country, it should be top priority for you as well. So please do not ignore everything that's going on with you. Don't don't not vote. Don't what we say. Don't ignore everything. Your opinion does matter, and people don't think that us being up here in Alaska and everything, that our vote doesn't matter. Our vote does matter. Yes, we are one of the largest states with fewer people, but we're also one of the views that I see and everything that's holding things up with Save America Act is our elected official is being a hindrance to getting the process done and not looking out for the American people. So, if you're interested in, saving the country, saving your friends, family, children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, wake up. Save America Act is very important. And unfortunately, John Thune, he went on vacation for 37 days. They'll be back in September. But, is that putting the American people's looking out for the American people, looking out for our best interest, fighting for our best interest? I don't think so. So, and this is, I live up here in North Pole, Alaska, so this is why, this topic is near and dear, plus 20 years in the military. It's near and dear to my heart, okay? I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a seasoned content creator. These are my opinions, and this is, what I like to have. These are discussions I like to have. So, I mean, there's a couple things that go with this as well. So you'll see that there's certain people that want to fight for everything that there is. I mean, we had 20 senators at one point in time that said that voted, we're going to vote to go against the recess, but that fell on deaf ears, because apparently Thune thinks that, filibuster is more important, which I will agree to some extent. The filibuster is important, but let's get with reality. The reality of the situation is that if the Democrats get back into office, especially, this midterm, if they get into the office in the midterms, the next 2 years is going to be nothing but hell. Wake up. Think about it. What they do during the first term? Impeach the president at least 3 times, which is another thing that, reason why I say that Senator Murkowski and actually there's a lot of them within the Senate that have TDS, and some of them are just acting, to be truthful with you. They're just, in it for themselves. They're not in it for the American people. So this upcoming midterm and everything, we need to show up, show out strong, make sure we vote. Like I said earlier, August 18th is our day for voting. It's a Tuesday. It's always on a Tuesday, but we need to pay attention. And the midterms also include local elections. The DSA, which I put out a video earlier, about a week ago or something, talked about the Democratic Socialists of America. These are people that are fighting against us to tear our country apart. Currently, right now, you can believe it or not, but the Democrat Party is at war with each other. You have the progressives on one side, which the DSA is part of, trying to tear apart the Democrat Party. Chuck Schumer, who is the minority leader in the Senate, that man, I mean, he's actually Jewish, but yet he's siding with people who believe otherwise, anti-Israel and everything else, anti-Jew. Okay, and it's not bad to say anti-Jew. It's a fact of what these people are, and we as the American people who look out for people, who look out for our friends, who want to love all our friends and our neighbors and everything else. The Christians in the country, well, the Christians are getting ready to be under attack because don't realize it, but the enemy is within. And that's what the DSA is, because they basically, want to go against. And I'll do another update on that because I'm sure that their views are growing different, more and different. You have Abdul Rahman Muhammad Al Saeed up in Michigan, who won the primary. He's a Muslim, and unfortunately, people say that he doesn't have ties, but he actually has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which is actually a terrorist organization within our country. States have stated it. They've said it. They've wanted it. They've voting against it. That's why we have all these mosques popping up all over the place. And I'm not anti-Muslim. I'm anti-Islam, and Muslim is a religion. Islam is a religion, but there's a lot of people. A lot of Muslims are radical. I mean, if you don't know, I've got a video I'm working on for that where in this country they're actually chanting "Death to America." If you haven't noticed, since 2021, when Biden administration opened up the floodgates at the border and everything, which is what we're trying to fight against. It's the reason why we're pressing so hard with the Save America Act. But there's a lot of things going on. And this is why it's so important. But within this country, there is a lot of people who are anti-America. Minnesota, Michigan. Hell, we just found out that there's a group in Ohio. There's a group in Texas too. You know, they're building what they call a compound or a community. They want to call it a community, but you know, it's going to be more like a compound. But it's a epic city. There's a lot of things going on that everybody needs to take into consideration and take serious about our elections. Lisa Murkowski is our senator, and I'll back her 100%. But when I get the chance and everything, which unfortunately, John Thune, Lisa Murkowski, they're not due to be reelected until 2028, 2029, you know. So they're going to skate through this midterm because they're not on the ballot. There are other senators that are on the ballot, you know, and people need to pay attention. People need to, you know, vote for who is the best person, not necessarily the best party, but in my eyes, right now, the best party is the Republican Party. And you can say whatever you want. Hate them, love them, like them. Donald Trump is our president, you know, and as a military veteran and everything, whoever was president, he's our commander in chief. Not the Congress, not the senators. The commander in chief is Donald J. Trump. And I will honor that. When Barack Obama was president, we honored that. Hell, when Biden was president, even though that, you know, he was really, what do you call, whatever, you know, he wasn't there. He wasn't the one running the country. People, you know, can say what they want, but you know, it's in the paperwork. It's in the writings. Okay, it's common sense that you didn't even know whether he was coming or going. He couldn't even remember his name half the time. Couldn't remember how to walk. Fell down on stage. Fell down going upstairs. Yeah, you name it. Okay, but he was still president, so I respected that. Was I out here bashing him or anything? No, I'm not bashing Lisa Murkowski, but she needs to vote for the American people, because the American people are the ones who elected her. The American people are the ones that are going to unelect her. So take it for what it is. I got a couple more clips and everything that, you know, I'm going to weed in here, or actually, you know, get in here and get this video together and tighten it up. So give me a second. So this one right here is Senator Mike Lee. And this is what he said.
Mr. President, our elections need to be characterized by two things. We need to make it easy to vote and hard to cheat. And we need to do that by making sure that people establish their citizenship and therefore their eligibility to vote when they register, and that they show who they are when they show up on election day. This isn't hard. This isn't unusual. Every country in the entire world, countries you're familiar with, countries you're not, countries as wide-ranging as Mexico, Brazil, India, Argentina, Peru, Botswana, Burundi, they all have voter ID requirements. We do not. We do not want to leave this amount of power sitting on the table so that foreign powers can send forth people who are not eligible to vote in this country and vote anyway. We need to do this. The House of Representatives has passed the Save America Act. We now have the opportunity to vote on that same bill, the Save America Act here. This bill, Mr. President, will disenfranchise no one. It will make us all more free. It will protect the sanctity, the dignity of your vote. When we allow people who are not allowed to vote, we rob Americans of their vote. Let's make it easy to vote, hard to cheat. Let's pass this bill.
You heard what he said. You know, it's supposed to protect our country, people, proven citizenship and everything. There's a lot of people that think that the reason why they're fighting it so hard is because that they believe that if the Save America Act was passed and everything, the Democratic Party, who, as you can tell, does not ever vote for it, but there's a reason. Same reason they fighting for not giving their voter rolls. Same reason why California has made laws against fighting fraud and stuff. The California governor actually made it illegal to ask people for ID. So what's that tell you? To me, he's a sleazeball. But again, people were put in office, people were elected, so you have to deal with everything. And as far as California goes, the California people are going to have to fight that fight. People in Alaska, Florida, East Coast, West Coast, Middle America, whatever. If we're not from that state, we can't vote. Okay, but we can sound the alarm, and the alarms. The trumpeter is loud and proud, dude. Alarms being sent. So wake up, smell the coffee, get with the program. There are several things that will be told and everything. Scott Pressler, he's pushing for any, on this one here, he shows Lisa Murkowski, but he's pressing, he's going around the country, going around, screaming loud and proud, but that we need to wake up. And so go ahead and, I want you to listen
in
to
a
this.
hangar in Anchorage, Alaska, gearing up for our Save America Tour rally on behalf of the Save America Act. Look, all we're asking for is proof of citizenship plus photo voter ID. I think that's a pretty low bar. And as you can see, the people here in Alaska want the Save America Act and are asking Senator Lisa Murkowski peacefully and respectfully do what 84% of Americans want.
Scott Pressler, I'm here with Jenny Beth Martin, and we are in Fairbanks, Alaska, because respectfully and peacefully, we must put pressure on Senator Murkowski to do the right thing. We demand proof of citizenship, we demand photo voter ID, and 84% of Americans want the Save America Act! The Save America Act, if you were not focused on election integrity, if you were not focused on giving what 84% of Americans want, then we are going to come after each and every one peacefully of our Republican senators until you pass the legislation that we demand.
Well, that clip there shows that, Scott Pressler is wanting to go after people, who vote against the Save America Act. Elon Musk has already put in $1.5 million for the state of Alaska to get the Save America Act passed. You make your own judgment. My judgment is that we need to get things going, get everything in there, and get it passed, because that's what the American people want. We all want it. So let me leave you with this one right here. See how, like I said, like them, love them, or hate them. You gotta, you got to respect that he's fighting for this country.
A few Republicans that are fighting it. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. You should call her and tell her to get on the ball. She'll never win another election, I can tell you. She's got to vote. It's called the Save America Act. It's voter ID, ideally photo ID, right? So you can look and you can say, oh, that person's okay, or for lots of reasons, that person is not the same person.
Don't understand how people can get that misunderstood and everything, but it is. It's misunderstood. Not in my eyes. Save America Act. That's the mission at hand. And hope this was informative for you, and hope that you understand that we need to make sure that our country is on the right path. And one of the things that I need to put in my 2 cents here is the conflict that we have going on in Iran. When Beirut was done and everything, I remember this stuff. So really, since 1978, 79, we've had conflicts going on with Iran for a while. People don't remember this and everything, but I remember as a kid, this was on TV. Iran actually captured a pilot of ours and tortured him and actually humiliated him, burned him, desecrated his corpse, dragging it through the streets. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's there. We also had the Beirut bombing. This is stuff that's been going on since the 70s. You can say whatever you want, but they have been a problem for Western civilization, to be truthful with you, because that's what they want. They want to go after Christians and everything else. That's why these people do what they do. If you don't